What I want to do here in this part is to look at 4 different operations in scientific notation. This is section 8.4 of the book under scientific notation. Now some of you, many of you, I hope are familiar with all of this from your sciences. What we're using it for is the exponents and the polynomials and factoring. We'll need to use this a little bit. The main thing you're going to focus on is how the exponents work. Remember the exponent rules. If you divide, you subtract. If you multiply, you add. If you raise to a power, you multiply. Okay? What we're going to do is 4 things. We're going to look at turning standard form to scientific notation to standard form, multiplying in scientific notation, and then dividing in scientific notation. All right, let's do the first thing. If you look up here, this should be very familiar to all of you. Standard form, which is just numbers, to scientific notation, that's SN for abbreviation. First one, 2,500, so 2,500. How do we turn that to scientific notation? Well, scientific notation says we have one number on the left of a decimal point, so 1 through 9, decimal point and then whatever else, times 10 to the some power. Let's look at this, 2500. Well, to scientific notation, the first part is 2.5. We have to have something point something, okay? In this case, we move the decimal point 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So 2.5. Now, second part of scientific notation times 10 to the... Now, that's where we deal with moving our decimal point. Notice we started with the decimal point on the far right, moved it 1, 2, 3 places. That means we need to turn this into a positive 3. So we have 2.5 times 10 to the third power. When you move the decimal point to the left, that means it's positive, because you made this number, a big number, smaller. Therefore, you need to make this number, this 10, bigger. So 10 to the third. Let's look at the opposite case. We have 0.00012. So we have 0.00012. Let's turn this to scientific notation. Now the first part is the number. That's 1.2. So 1.2 is our number times 10. Always has that times 10. Now, in this case, we're moving the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's 4 to the right. In this case, we move 3 to the left. That's a positive 3. If we move it 4 to the right, that's going to be a negative 4, exactly. So we have 1.2 times 10 to the negative 4th power. Negative 4, and it's a little hard to see the exponents there. So if you move it to the right, it becomes a negative power. If you move it to the left, it's a positive power. That's going from standard form to scientific notation. Now let's look at the second case. Let's look at scientific notation to standard form. Okay, scientific notation to standard form. Now, in this case, let's look at one number. Let's do negative 3.2, negative 3.2 times 10 to the 5th. Negative 3.2 times 10 to the 5th power, Now, negative numbers, so we're still going to have that negative up front. In this case, notice it's a positive power. That means we need to make this number bigger, because it's much bigger than just 3. Okay, when this is positive, we move to the right in this case. This would be negative 3. Now, we have to move it 5 places. First place is just moving this past the 2. So that's 32. Now we have 4 left to go. We're going to put zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 32, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So that's negative 320,000. You can always check this by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 back. Okay? That's bigger numbers going in scientific notation. Now, second thing, let's do one from a smaller one. Let's do 1.68. So 1.68 times 10 to the negative 4th. What does that look like? Well, in this case, we need to take this number. It's negative, so we need to make it smaller. Okay? This is negative, means it's a small number. So we're going to make this number already smaller. This was a positive, we make this number bigger. This number is a negative, so we make this one smaller. So we move the decimal point to the left. Now, first thing is we put 1, so move it 1 place, so that'd be negative 3, and then we need 3 zeros, just like up there. So we'll do point 0, 0, 0, 168. Okay, point 0.000168. Now we can move this over 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'd be back to our original 1.68 times 10 to the negative fourth. So when you're moving these things, when you're doing scientific notation to standard form, if it's a positive, you need to move the decimal point to the right. Notice it's backwards from up here. Going standard to scientific notation, you go to the left to get a positive. If it's scientific notation is standard, you go to the right, because you're making a small number bigger. Now here, 1.68 times 10 to the negative fourth, we're making a small number, a big number, 1.6, smaller, so move to the left. 3 zeros and 1 space. 4, so move it 1 over is 3 with 3 zeros left. Alright, that's the scientific notations. Now let's do the second part, 3 and 4. We're going to look at multiplying and dividing in scientific notation. Let me just get rid of this.